He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews on Super Talk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
I hope you're having a great day. Welcome to Coast Vue, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi a great place to live, work, and play. I wanted to do this show because there's an opportunity to make a difference. I think that there is something to learn from the selfless leaders who are volunteering their time to help build a great region. I also wanted you to meet some coast characters that are adding spice to our life. You know, what tremendous additions they are to this community. And I wanted you to learn from the journeys of incredibly successful coast people. Knowing their inspirational journeys might help you better understand what it takes to succeed in your life. Today, we're going to hit on all cylinders. I've got Roy Anderson III for a Coast Vue session. He's the president and CEO of Andercorp. Roy, good morning, buddy.
Good morning, Ricky.
It's great to have you here in the studio. I'm really excited. I told you, before we started the show that just based on the social media interest and the notes that I've gotten from people prior to the show, this is going to be a really popular show, and I think I know why. I've described your former construction companies as having played a transformational role in the history of coastal Mississippi. When you look back, do you see it that way?
Well, I think we were in the right place at the right time. And I think, first of all, that the gaming played a transformational role in the growth of the Gulf Coast. So if we played a part of that, building and those impressive structures and creating employment and for the economic engine for this Gulf Coast, I'm proud of that.
Well, it's a fascinating story when you look at where your dad and you had the company in the late 80s and what, it was a relatively small construction company and how you took advantage of that opportunity. I can't wait to tell that story today. The other thing is that if you think about the future, the opportunity to continue to expand not only your company Andercorp, but make a transformational contribution to the community through the development of the Broadwater site. Man, that's going to be unbelievable. We're going to talk about that as we get into this conversation. I've also written about you that you're one of the most substantial success stories, certainly on the coast, and it ranks up there as one of the most impressive in the country. And when we finish telling the story about your ascension and the work that you've done and the way you expanded your company, I think people are going to understand why I wrote that. But most stories start with an amazing foundation. Your grandfather came to Gulfport and established really what would be an unbelievable work ethic, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. I never got to meet my grandfather. Is Roy Anderson Sr., and he grew up in Purvis, Mississippi. He died a month before I was born in 1957. But my grandfather actually was born in 1893, and his namesake was Columbus Leroy Anderson,
wow.
If you can imagine.
Yeah.
So
that's a tough name.
Yeah, that's a tough name. It was so tough. He went down to the courthouse, the story says, when he was 15 years old. Everybody knew everybody in Purvis, Mississippi. And he filled out the paperwork as if he was 18, changed his name just to Roy Anderson. And so today, that's how I got my name. He actually, like I said, he passed away a month before I was born. So
no middle name?
No middle name. Roy Anderson III today, and my dad was Roy Anderson Jr.
Yeah,
and but I think Columbus would be a pretty cool middle name, so I might have to integrate it with a cool dog or something.
So
like that.
He was really compelled to come here because of the Port of Gulfport, wasn't he?
Yeah, he went. He left Purvis, Mississippi, went to Bowling Green State University up in Ohio because that was one of the few schools in around 1915, 1912 that focused on business. Mm-hmm. And so he married my grandmother, Willie Bell Watts, from Gillsburg, Mississippi. And they came to the Gulf Coast for one reason, like he said. He felt like the port was going to be the economic engine for the entire state of Mississippi, that he felt like everything would come into the port, produce, chickens, eventually, of course, like today, fruit and so forth. But he felt like it would be the gateway to the rest of the world. So that's why he and his wife moved here and had 3 children.
So he laid the incredible foundation for your family, and your dad built on that. Your dad was a phenomenal athlete at Gulfport High. He went on to Georgia Tech to play football for the famous Bobby Dodd. He got a degree in engineering. He was a pilot in the Korean War. He was extraordinarily involved in the community, and he was an astute businessman. We could literally spend a whole show talking about your dad. But he was also an incredible mentor, wasn't
he? He was unbelievably much of a mentor. Some father-son relationships, you hear pros and cons of how it works out. Well, we never had an issue. But you're right. My dad grew up in Gulfport. My mother grew up in Gulfport. They're both born and raised in Gulfport. My mother, I have to speak for her. She was the state champion in tennis 2 years in a row, singles. And so my dad ran track and football. And a funny story in those days. When we send our children or grandchildren off to college, we have U-Hauls, we have trucks. We go up as an entourage and help them move in. And his dad took him to the train depot in Gulfport, 2 small suitcases, and got him on. He boarded the train, went to Atlanta, and the rest was history.
Wow. Someone sent me a note this morning that said your mother, Wheezy, was like to play practical jokes, and it drove your dad crazy.
Yeah, she played practical jokes, but her sister, Ada Marie Price, Doug's mother, was probably the biggest prankster in that family. So
well, that's fascinating. I believe that your dad was one of the finest men I ever met. I told you that many times after I became president and publisher, we would see each other in the community. He would go out of his way to come over and tell me how proud he was of me. I just always was touched by that. So he was a great mentor, but a mentor knows when to pass the reins. And in order to understand your story, people have to understand you were 35 years old, 1993. Your dad passes the reins to you. And when you think about the history of the Gulf Coast and what was happening in the early 90s, that's when the casino boom was taking place. So here you are, you're in the middle of the casino boom. A lot of people would have banked the casino boom and just kind of rode off into the sunset. But what you did, while you were building all these amazing casinos, you were also strategically repositioning your company, not only geographically, but also in terms of the kind of business lines you had. You were doing that to the point that you actually became one of the most significant construction firms in the South. Wow. That was unbelievable. It was a wild time for you, wasn't it?
Well, it was. But when you say that my dad passed the reins to me, that's a big statement. I was president CEO, and that was a big deal for a 35-year-old getting ready to take on the gaming. But he was still chairman of the company, and our offices were about 20 feet away from each other. So we had many meetings, late night meetings, early morning meetings, and but you couldn't ask for a better mentor. And I owe him everything for giving me that opportunity and confidence to be in that role at that time. But he saw that we had just finished Casino Magic, and we'll get in that a little later. But he felt like we needed a quarterback, if you will, to be the kind of front person, especially what's going to happen with gaming. But I told him, when the gaming hit a wall, and it would eventually, that the company needed to be diversified, not only in market sectors, different types of construction, but also geographically. And that's what I worked on. That's what kept me up at night.
So what people have to understand, though, about his mentorship of you, sort of like Roland's mentorship of me, is that there's a point where they start to let you kind of open your wings and fly. And he did it in a way that really began to take advantage of the core competencies that you were developing in the company. And as a result of that, you built the company to become this incredible company. And then in 2011, you sold your company, Roy Anderson Corporation, to Tudor Perini,
Tudor Perini,
which is one of the largest contractors, general contractors in the United States, for $64 million. At that time, you stayed on as CEO, incidentally, until December 2017. That time, you really could have cashed it in, but you didn't. You form a new company called Andercorp, and you're about to do it all over again, Roy.
Well, be careful what you ask for, I guess. So,
but it's an amazing story, buddy.
Right.
It's an amazing story. And what I want to do now, we grew up in Bellevue together. What a great place to grow up, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was incredible. I passed your house this morning at the corner of Quincy and 54th on the way to this meeting.
Yeah.
We grew up several blocks away, and we spent many of summers on the bayou, learning to ski behind Mitchell skiffs in those days. So, but I went to Bellevue Elementary, went to Bellevue Junior High, went to Gulfport East, graduated the same year you did in '79. Went to Alabama, not for any specific reason. My brother was at Alabama. Both of my parents, my dad went to Georgia Tech, my mother went to USM and Mississippi School for Women up in Columbus. So I didn't really have a lot of trips to Ole Miss and State growing up. So I thought it'd be good to go somewhere different. And I really enjoyed Alabama. And, of course, I was a Bear Bryant fan in those days. And so it was a great experience, really, for me to get out of the state and be able to come back.
So you had a great experience at the University of Alabama, but you didn't come back. You went to the University of Mississippi Law School.
Yeah, I'm like any graduate. It's really amazing that we don't have more of a required internship like some of the foreign countries that you go into a field and then decide what you like.
Yeah.
You think you know what you're going to be interested in, but my dad had a case in Hattiesburg with a federal courthouse years ago, and he had a.
So let's do this. We'll come back. I want to tell the story of how you ended up in law school.
Okay.
That experience there, and then coming back. So this is Roy Anderson, the third. We're having a fascinating conversation about the evolution of his business, former business, Roy Anderson Corporation, and the advent of his new business, Andercorp. We'll come back after this break and continue the conversation.
Okay.
Attention all authors. Page Publishing is looking for authors. Have you written a book and want to get it published? Page Publishing will get your book into bookstores and for sale online at Amazon, Apple iTunes, and other outlets. They handle all aspects of the publishing process for you. Printing, cover art, publicity, copyright, and editing. Call 800-501-3689 now for your free author submission kit. That's 800-501-3689 for your free author submission kit. Again, 800-501-3689.
Don't you love that feeling when you've just nailed your look? That's how it feels to use Stitch Fix, your personal styling service that delivers hand-picked clothes right to you. Stitch Fix is simple and convenient. Sign up in just a few minutes, and you can try out new styles right at home. And there's no subscription required, ever. So, isn't it time you started nailing your look? Get started today at StitchFix.com. Stitch Fix, personal styling for everybody.
Have you made your New Year's resolution yet? Resolve to make 2020 a year to remember with a new lifestyle. At Arbor Properties, you'll discover features, amenities, and services that are only found at an Arbor Properties community. Whether you're looking to actively unwind in one of 5 fully equipped fitness studios, enjoy the free fitness classes, or reserve a spot with a personal trainer, Arbor Properties is the place to conquer your fitness goals. Arbor Properties apartment homes features granite countertops, custom cabinetry, luxury flooring, and upgraded fixtures. Arbor Properties' resolution is to ensure your living experience is nothing less than exceptional. Arbor Properties isn't just a place to live, it's a way of life. Let Arbor Properties help make 2020 your best year yet. Find your new home at Arbor View d'Iberville, Arbor Landing on the River in Biloxi, Arbor Place, Biloxi, Arbor Village at Pass Road, Gulfport, or Arbor Station in Long Beach. Like Arbor Properties on Facebook.
Hi, it's Steve Mann. Have you heard the commercials for the Mark Patrick Stop Smoking seminars? And they said only $49.99 and it could work for you. So I thought, that's not even a week's worth of smoking. So I went. And guess what? It did work for me. You know, my friends and family are still amazed. I quit smoking. I didn't have cravings, anxiety, or weight gain. Listen, I don't know how it works, but I know it works because I'm living proof and it's 100% guaranteed. So what do you got to lose? I'll tell you what you got to lose. A very bad habit.
Join Mark Patrick seminars and stop smoking now without cravings, irritability, or weight gain, or your money back. Only $49.99 guarantee. Hypnosis designed to work without anxiety, irritability, or weight gain. For only $49.99, become a non-smoker. That's right, seminars Sunday, March 22nd at the Holiday Inn Airport Hotel in Gulfport from 2 to 4 p.m. Registration starts at 1:30. Weight loss seminar starts at 11 a.m. and stop smoking at 2 p.m.
It's a great time to be on the coast, and we love talking about it. Welcome to Coast View with Ricky Mathews on Super Talk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. I have Roy Anderson III with me, and we had a fascinating conversation about his grandfather and his father going off to Alabama. And when we left at the break, we were about to head to Ole Miss Law School. So let's pick it up from there, Roy.
Yeah, I think the question was, why I chose law school. My father had an interesting case with federal courthouse in Hattiesburg, and I remember in the 70s before I went to law school, and he asked me to go just sit down. He thought it'd be interesting. He probably had an ulterior motive. Maybe he was thinking law school, but I saw there was a firm, Smith, Curry and Hancock, out of Atlanta, and they specialize in construction litigation. And our market wasn't big enough in Mississippi to have a construction expertise like that, but Atlanta was. Mm-hmm. So I thought that would be real interesting after hearing closing arguments and the construction side of it, and also legal theory. So I went to law school at Ole Miss, and but looking back, Ole Miss, any law school curriculum is a great, in my mind, a training ground for business, whether you practice law or not. Yeah. One of the first days in law school was in Professor Champions and contracts, and they had a student go up and brief a case. I didn't even know what briefing a case was when I was, first day of school. And so they took forever. It was like 30 minutes. They kept going over the facts. And so he just cut him off. He just couldn't take it anymore. He said, look, you need to get the facts, issues, and to develop a conclusion. And you need to do it within 3 to 4 minutes. Mm-hmm. And so that stuck with me, and it's really relevant in a business. I don't care if we're in construction or whatever. When someone comes to you and there's really no solvable answer or seems like there's not, you try to frame the facts, break apart the issues, put them back together, and then come up with a conclusion. Yeah. You're not always going to be right. So it helped me immensely in construction to make decisions. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean you're going to make the right decisions, but it just helped me kind of to funnel down what the issues were and assist our associates, employees the best we could to develop. So it helped me. I
saw that too. My son Jordan he had a degree in business, but he went to Ole Miss Law School as well, and I watched that same kind of metamorphosis happen with him, and it makes you a better decision maker. At the end of the day, you can take a lot of complicated information and bring it together. And you're right. When you're in business, you don't have the luxury of saying, I'm not going to make a decision. You got to make a decision.
You have to make a decision and live with it, right or wrong.
Quality of the decision is really important. So you get done with law school, you come back to the coast.
Right.
What were you facing?
I graduated in law school May of '82, and I started a week later in those days, Roy Anderson Corp. And my dad had a 1,800 square foot office on 29th Avenue, downtown Gulfport, right by the railroad track, mm-hmm. and had 6 salary employees at that time working out of that office. And to be honest, my dad lost a key employee, started his own company at that time, and I felt like I was coming in on a temporary basis to help him. We had just had Courtney, Rebecca and I did at that time, Courtney in law school, so we came back to the coast, my first daughter, mm-hmm. and in that January. We moved back in May. And so, 35 years later, I was there. And during the 80s, I guess it was mostly focused on federal work, because, Ricky, that really was our economy. We had Keesler Air Force Base, Stennis Space Center, some work at NASA. But the downside was the delivery for the government was he had 8 to 10 competitive bid. Whoever was low, there wasn't really any qualification standards, or if you could bond the project and you were low. So it really wasn't the most fulfilling for me.
You went in with very thin margins to begin with.
Very thin margins, and you didn't really have a lot of input in the selection of your subcontractors and who you really want to work with during that time. So, but really that was the economy. I mean, we did churches, did schools on the Gulf Coast, and then, of course, gaming. Passed in 91 of all places.
So let me ask you a question. Before we even get started on the gaming conversation, I'm curious, or the building that occurred after the gaming, did you have any imagination in your mind at the time that it was going to be as big as it was?
Well, I remember the Sun Herald had pictures of these riverboats, when it passed. And again, remember, Harrison County, Hancock County was the first to pass.
Right, Harrison County.
And of all, who would have ever imagined Harrison County that passed it? But we saw pictures of riverboats. So we thought maybe we'd be building a parking garage, asphalt paving, maybe a small motel. but we never in our wildest dreams thought it would be where it is today.
So what was the first big project that made you think, holy mackerel?
I guess the first was I received a phone call to go over to in July. It was right before 4th of July of 92. And this individual named Marlon Torgerson, and he asked me to come to a marina, and I've never heard of this marina, in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. And this is before Google Map, and he tried to give me directions, and I'm telling you, you had to take a left, take a right, you go through woods, and so you show up at this marina. There were sunken shrimp boats. Bulkhead was falling in. I'm not sure they had a depth of water for the entire marina. I'm not sure you would really classify it as a marina, but there were two old construction trailers. There was a dusty white Cadillac. So I walked in, Marlon turned around, he said, "You must be Roy Anderson." I said, "You must be Marlon." And so there were these little old ladies with these large IBM computer terminals back in those days, and they were just typing away. And I said, "What are they doing, Marlon?" He said, "Well, we're booking bus tours." I said, "Bus tours for what?" He said, "For a casino I'm getting ready to open. I'm going to open a casino on September the 30th. And this is in 92, and I'm thinking 93 he must be talking about. And so he was talking, said, "No, I'm going to bring a barge in, and I need you to build a building on it, and I need to open it up in 90 days. I'm going to take my company, casino, Mardi Gras Casino Corporation. We're going to take it public under the name Casino Magic." So the rest is history. We're going working 24/7. The barge arrived that next week, and we were working around the clock. We opened up that Casino Magic September 30th. They went public. The stock went from $5 to over $80, and the rest was history. He had a limestone paving parking lot. The Gaming Commission was very cooperative on. They probably wouldn't allow a casino to open up under some of those conditions today, but they were really trying to assist the industry, especially that was the first casino built on a barge. And so...
Man, it was, I remember, I mean, it was just absolutely fundamentally successful from the first day. Was Grand Casino the next big project that
Yeah, I
got your
received
attention?
a call from a construction VP out of Minnesota. He needed me to go up to Minnesota. This is right after Casino Magic, and visit Hinckley. It's a casino project on Native American land, and also Mille Lacs. And so we came back, and I looked at their facilities, and he hadn't talked. They didn't really talk a lot about Gulfport until they came to our office the next week. And they said they wanted to break ground in January of 93 and open up in May of 93. And it was they described 2 barges put together. It was over 2 football fields long. And there was no way to get, like, for instance, the escalators and the elevators even manufactured during that time. So we got on the phone with the, I don't know if it was Schindler or Kone, one of the manufacturers. We went way above the sales managers for those regions and talked to the president and executive vice president. Said, "Look, if you have any escalators for any projects in Chicago, California, wherever, we'll pay a premium to allow those to be shipped and allow our order to replace those." So that's the way we talked them into.
So Roy, the significance of this, though, let's talk about this for a minute, because you built Casino Magic rapidly, but and often in speeches after casinos came, I often said no one envisioned 2 barges each the size of a football field with this multi-story building on top of it. When the Grand built, it was at a whole new level. A project like this would normally take how long?
It was we actually did a schedule and then backed into it, so it was 14 months is what we projected.
And you built it in how long?
It was 153 days.
Unbelievable.
That's correct. And the other challenge was labor. At that time, there weren't a lot of large subcontractors. And Ricky, in those days, you had union subcontractors, really, with the pipe fitters, the electrical, Haynes Electric, and so forth.
Yeah.
And so what I did is went to New Orleans, I went to Mobile, and we talked to the unions. But I told them, I said, "Look, good or bad on the gaming, whether it's great for our economy or bad for our economy, time will tell. But there's a lot of companies that were union as well as non-union that participated in the vote. So we need to include everyone. And we call that open shop, where subs can work on the same site, not to have one lock gate and so forth. But when we reached out to New Orleans and also Mobile and the Gulf Coast, we were able to bring the labor in and to be able to sustain the schedules that we were on. So
it's so fascinating to recall how rapidly these things were getting built, and we'll come back to it in a minute. But it is unbelievable now to think that you built the Grand Casino, and then some years later you'd be coming back for your friend Rick Carter and building, a $multi-$100 million hotel at the same site. That's so interesting to me.
It was real ironic. Rick and Terry, two Gulfport guys. I'm Gulfport, and they could have easily taken the insurance money from the Copa and gone home and lived a very comfortable life.
My interview with Rick Carter and Terry Green, if you haven't watched it, you have to go watch it. What a fascinating story.
I've watched it. Rick made sure I watched it.
I bet he did. It is a great story, man. Right. It's one of, up there with yours for being one of the most interesting and successful stories really in the history of coastal Mississippi. We're going to come back to this really great conversation with Roy Anderson III from Andercorp Corporation, and we're just going to continue talking about the evolution of gaming and then Broadwater. What's going on with Broadwater. What a great story that is. We'll see you after the break.
From the Singing River Electric and Coast Electric Newsroom, your news now.
Plans to restructure military hospitals across the nation does not include Keesler Medical Center. The Department of Defense are focused on restructuring and realigning military treatment facilities for active duty personnel to improve support for wartime readiness of personnel and to improve clinical training. A Long Beach teacher's been selected to receive the Leo W. Seal Innovative Teacher Grant for her work in the classroom. Demetria Brown was given a $2,000 grant that'll go towards growing the innovative projects in her class. In the classroom, students are guided through the startup process from writing a business plan all the way to website development. Ingalls Shipbuilding will host a Future Shipbuilder Discovery Day on March 7th at the Maritime Training Academy at the Pascagoula Shipyard. The event is open to middle and high school students as well as their parents. Students can learn about career opportunities and trade skills and prepare for success as a future Ingalls shipbuilder. For Super Talk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1, I'm Kyle Curley.
Everyone in my family uses electricity differently. But when it comes to our Touchstone Energy Cooperative, we all think about it the same way. The co-op is power. Sure, electricity turns the lights on, but power is the information I get from my co-op about efficiency, safety, technology. And I trust the co-op because we are the co-op.
They're our neighbors.
Our friends. Our home.
Brought to you by Coast Electric and Singing River Electric, your Touchstone Energy Cooperatives.
When you need to pick up a last-minute birthday card or gift, stop into Love's Pharmacy and Gifts in Pass Christian. Yes, Love's is a full-service pharmacy combining local hospitality and affordability. When half of the store has unique gifts, beautiful decorations for your home, fragrances, and free gift wrapping, you only have to make one stop. Love's Pharmacy and Gifts, 12345 Vidalia Road in Pass Christian. If you love great service with a smile, you'll love Love's Pharmacy, with a second location now open in Ocean Springs.
Spring is just around the corner, and now's a great time to get in the driver's seat of that new John Deere you've been dreaming of when you shopped with your neighbors at SunSouth. Whether you're cutting, disking, planting, or harvesting, think SunSouth, where you'll find the quality John Deere equipment to meet your needs, affordably priced to save you time and money. Like the fast and efficient John Deere Z915E zero-turn mower as low as $109 a month. And if you need to tackle larger jobs, think SunSouth for the John Deere 3025E package, including tractor, trailer, loader, box blade, and rotary cutter for as low as $285 a month with 0% financing available. Come see how easy it is to own a John Deere when you visit SunSouth. For a full line of affordable John Deere equipment to get your outdoor jobs done faster and more efficiently, think SunSouth, for those that do.
Pricing plus taxes and fees. Financing with approved credit. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details. Expires March 7, 2020.
Sometimes the issues of life require the assistance of a professional. Whether it involves an asbestos-related disease such as mesothelioma, personal injury from an accident, a real estate issue, or even an impending arrest charge, you need the help of an attorney. Cumbest, Hunter, and McCormick have more than 100 years combined experience representing the interests of Jackson County and Gulf Coast clients. Cumbest, Hunter, and McCormick. Proud to support the Ole Miss Rebels. 762-5422. CCHMlawyers.com.
When the power goes out, you feel helpless. Stumbling in the dark, especially during a hurricane, is dreadful. Bay Motor Winding wants you to have your comfort and independence. A Briggs & Stratton standby generator system from Bay Motor Winding will automatically power your entire home, keeping the lights, appliances, and cooling running smoothly. Select Briggs & Stratton generators come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Visit baymotorwinding.com before the power goes out.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. Talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer, songwriter, has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because, I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard, and, all this stuff was going on at the same time. / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on Super Talk Mississippi, the Super Talk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
The Mississippi Power Weather Center. Your weather now.
Mostly cloudy with on and off showers expected to last throughout the day. Temperature steadily falling to the low 50s by this evening. Slight chance of isolated early showers, then gradually clearing overnight, the low 38. Sunshine for tomorrow, high of 52. Clear and cold tomorrow night, 36 the low on Saturday. More sunshine, highs in the mid-50s. Visit MississippiPower.com/ways to save to learn about programs and resources that can help you save energy and money on your electric bill.
He's the former president and publisher of the Sun Herald, and now he's on the radio. Welcome to Coast Vue with Ricky Mathews on Super Talk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast Vue. Having a fascinating conversation with Roy Anderson III, and what a journey this is. So when we went to the break, we were sort of talking about Grand Casino and how that should have been actually more than a year project. It was built in 153 days. That's truly incredible. But from there, Roy, you went to Biloxi and did it all over again.
Yeah, we did the Biloxi project, which, of course, it was all on the water on the south side, and it was back in those days, it was $70-some-odd million, just hard costs of construction, and we built that project and opened up in January of '94.
This is the Biloxi Grand Casino.
That's correct.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's correct. And but then we received a call that brought us to Tunica, Mississippi, and this was kind of another interesting journey. I received a call from a fellow named Joe Lipari with Bally's Manufacturing out of New Jersey, and he asked me to be in Tunica, Mississippi the following week. And I remember I had 2 meetings jammed Monday and Tuesday, so the only way I could attend those meetings and also attend his meeting was, so we rented a Baron, Beechcraft Baron, by myself and the pilot, and it was in August, a very hot day, and so we take off, no air conditioning, and so I asked the pilot, where do we land? He says, well, it's a little airport called Twinkletown Airport. Well, Twinkletown Airport was a grass runway with crop dusters. And so I remember we were coming into Tunica, and there was a fellow in overalls, came out with a flashlight with a red blinking light. And the pilot had never flown into this airport, much less landed, he told me later, on a grass runway. So he got his bearings, we circled back, and we landed, and thank goodness we bounced a little bit. But
You landed in Green Acres.
That's correct. So he comes out, and welcome to Twinkletown Airport. And he says, your ride's almost here, your car. And no one said anything about anybody picking me up. So there was a black limousine that pulled up. And in those days, this is probably 93, 94, I'm not sure, it might have been a funeral home limousine from Memphis, but in the car there was a gentleman talking on Motorola phone. And in those days, it was you had to hold it with 2 hands, the white Motorola, and then there was a chief operating officer named Wally Barr, and also Joe Lipari, head of construction. So this fellow that was on the phone, his name was Arthur Goldberg, and Arthur Goldberg was in the trucking company very difficult environment in New York and New Jersey. He did produce, seafood. That was his reputation. And he had just bought 5% of Bally's Manufacturing for $14 million. And Bally's Manufacturing was, started off doing pinball machines in the early 1900s. They had some kind of shady characters, and then they cleaned it all up, and they became a very legitimate company in the gaming business where they manufactured slot machines and also had gaming operations. So we went to Dutch Parker's John Deere dealership, and I guess you would ask why we went there. Mr. Parker controlled all the land at Moon Landing where they wanted a casino site. So they went in and met with Mr. Parker. And then finished that meeting, went out to the site, and the Splash Casino had just opened. There was a tent outside with probably 3,000 or 4,000 people waiting to get in, paying $10 a piece to get into Splash Casino. Well,
and it was a significant property.
Significant. In those times, it was a barge casino, inland casino on Moon Landing. But Mr. Goldberg was there for one purpose, to be able to tell and confirm to his shareholders that he inspected the site and approved it. Well, once we got out of the car, it was probably 100 degrees, dust blowing. He looked at that crowd. He said, "The site's approved. When can you start?" Well, we brought in structural steel and actually fabricated the barge in place and built what's called the Boomtown Bally's Casino up there. And then that led to the Grand Casino, 2,000-acre development that Lyle put us on with 3 hotels, at that time, it was one of the largest casinos in the United States. We breached the levee, brought the barges in. We went to Caterpillar, had to finance all our equipment because we couldn't find site work contractors to be able to do the work and guarantee a price. So we joint ventured with a company out of Laurel and did the work ourselves. And so we did it all on site, and it was the only thing I can describe closest to it was the Wild West. One time we had 2,000 employees on that site, mechanical, electrical, laborers. We had man camps where we fed them, we housed them for some of our projects in Tunica. But it was like I said, it was a monumental undertaking. But I owe everything to our subcontractor relationships. We had a great team of employees, very dedicated. They work really long hours, and we got the job done, and we kind of got known for that niche as the gaming contractor.
I read a little bit about what makes a successful contractor: the ability to communicate, the ability to solve problems, the ability to be innovative, because you get into problems sometimes that creates the need for significant innovation.
Right.
And in this case, you were literally innovating every day, weren't you? You were in a whole new world of construction.
Well, we were from a standpoint. We had interior designers, we had structural engineers, we had mechanical, electrical engineers, and I wish we would have had CAD drawings. I wish we would have email, but a lot of it was by faxes, and a lot of it was FedEx and drawings. We had architects that had just gone on their own, and they're major architects today. One of them in particular is Brad Freemutter out of Las Vegas. He worked for Steve Wynn. He went out on his own. We worked with him on Bally's. We're working with him on another project. So
Roy, there's so much more we could talk about here, but I want to do this because this segment is going to be over soon, and I want to make sure we capture something. While all that was going on, you were still entertaining other projects. It's not like you were just doing that and not considering other things. So you were multitasking like crazy. You bought the Broadwater along the way, and then Katrina hits.
Right.
How did that change your life?
Well, I'll start with Katrina first. And, we built the Hard Rock in Biloxi. Actually built it twice. And on the Saturday before the opening on Monday, when the hurricane hit on the 29th in 2005, there was a big celebration party on Saturday night in the Roof Chris. And Roof Chris had gone public that year, and so we had a lot of the politicians from New Orleans over for that party, and it was a big event. And I remember Ben Stone walking up to me and said he just got some intel from the power company that the storm Katrina, which was tracking pretty fast due west, was going to head toward Texas. A front came in and stalled it to a halt, and the only way it could go was due north. And And worse than that, the front that came over us was going to keep it over the coast for an extended period of time, maybe 20, 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Katrina wasn't the strongest storm that ever hit the coast, but it was the longest that ever stayed.
And the storm surge was records.
30 foot in some areas.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So, but that was interesting time. So, you know, I went to the site the day after on that Tuesday, and I couldn't tell what happened to the casino, and so I was able to crawl up into the floor right by where the cafe is on that wooden area, and I remember that there were two newspaper type artwork prints where a guy used chicken wire and put different colored newspaper and did Madonna and did Mick Jagger. And I remember when I was walking in there, it was pitch black dark, no electricity. There was like 6 inches of water, and I was dragging my feet, shuffling them like we're out floundering, you know. So because you didn't know where glass was. So, but I remember those paintings, which I liked so much, floating by me. And so I shuffled my feet past where Roof Chris is to the left, and I got to the opening where the casino, and waves were splashing because it was still rough within 24 hours of the storm. Waves were splashing into the interior. And I looked at, in the structural steel, it kind of concaved in like a shoebox, where the waves had crushed the casino against the hotel, and the top just caved in. So it was total devastation. And I received a call from Joe Billheimer, the president GM. He had gone to Pensacola, and I had a cell phone from Cellular South in those days, and the tower was on our site. And so we had connections to Mobile. It hit a tower and came back to us. So I was able to tell Joe, you know, of the devastation about it was going to be a total rebuild, Beau Rivage, everything was across 90, and so it was really surreal to see that.
Yeah, we could literally spend an entire show on the aftermath of Katrina. We really could, because the role that your company played in that aftermath was phenomenally important to the coast and us getting back. Because, you know, as Haley Barber said so many times, we got to get people back to work. We got to get, you know, we have to have their jobs back, and then get schools for their kids to stay in, and then we'll work on the housing as well. But you don't get started if you don't have a job. So getting the casinos back open again was a critical part of our recovery effort. Man, there's so much. But, you know, the thing is, you know, mainly with the show, we wanted to tell your story in a way that people could really appreciate the phenomenal contribution that you've made, the transformational contribution. When we come back, I want to hit on your family. I want to talk about the Broadwater and the formation of your new company, and then we'll kind of close it out. So this is Roy Anderson III from Andercorp. Formerly was the CEO of Roy Anderson Corporation, and we'll come back after this break.
Into esports? So is Big Play. Check out Big Play's brand new esports virtual reality attraction with cash prizes paid weekly and monthly. Guaranteed to pay $100,000 this year. Plus 2 massive arcades, bowling go-karts, 2 mini golf courses, 2-story state-of-the-art laser tag arena bumper cars, and right now, get a $50 game card for $25. Visit Super Talk MS Gulf Coast on Facebook and print on demand. Big Play Entertainment Center. Bowl, play, eat.
Tired of burning your hands on your steering wheel? You know how hot Mississippi summers can be. Beat the heat with Solar Control, the Coast exclusive 3M window film dealer since 1975. 3M window film rejects up to 90% of the sun's heat and 99% of damaging UV rays, keeping you cool and comfortable year-round. Solar Control can tint most cars starting at only $180. Visit Solar Control in Ocean Springs on Bechtel Boulevard. Call 872-0805 or visit solarcontrolinc.com.
What would you do with extra cash? Take a bucket list vacation? Put in a pool? Pay off high-interest debt? Why not let the equity in your home pay you back for all the years you've paid into it? With Keesler Federal Credit Union's low-rate home equity loan or line of credit, you'll have the freedom and flexibility to do whatever matters most to you. Apply today at kfcu.org.
Available on primary residence only in Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, and Florida. Membership and credit eligibility required. Equal housing lender. NMLS number 408911.
Since 1950, when you needed help and advice from an experienced attorney, you turned turn to Boyce Holloman and Associates. Standing on the principles of experience, integrity, and results, Boyce Holloman and Associates can help you and your family with a variety of legal matters. When you come to Boyce Holloman and Associates of Gulfport, every client, every case gets the level of service from attorneys and staff who honor the legacy of Boyce Holloman's tradition of excellence. See Dean and Tim Holloman at Boyce Holloman and Associates, 1720 23rd Avenue, Gulfport.
So you probably already know Adventures Pub and Spirits has won awards for local favorites Hangout on the Coast and Best Bar on the Coast, but you may not know that Adventures also features an excellent lunch special menu Monday through Friday. Homemade lasagna, burgundy beef tips, chicken fried steak, shrimp creole, and more for only $8.95. Oh, my personal favorite, the seafood pie loaded up. Lump crab meat, shrimp and cheese, baked in a flaky pie crust. Adventures Pub and Spirits, 1 block north of the Hard Rock, next door to City Hall on Lemuse.
Ugh, I've got to get that fixed.
Uneven driveways causing headaches? Helms Polyfoam will fix it without tearing up your driveway in the process. We inject Polyfoam under settled concrete to stabilize it in a matter of minutes, not days. Polyfoam is used on runways, railways, and highways, so there is no question it will support your driveway. We also repair seawalls, sidewalks, pond dams, retaining walls, and unstable soil. Visit HelmsPolyfoam.com or call Helms Polyfoam at 601-966-7821.
From the Gallo Radio Show archives.
In the house, Mike Hurst. When I started at the end of 2017, sadly, our office had gotten so low during the last administration. I think in FY16, we prosecuted 11 illegal immigration cases, 11, which is embarrassing. First year I was there, we had jumped almost 700% to 77 prosecutions. And, Paul, that number I think is going to increase very much more this year. We are continuing to see illegal immigration impact crime around the state. I'll give you a perfect example. About a month ago, we prosecuted an illegal alien who had brought 9 kilos of heroin and 1 kilo of fentanyl through our state. Now, to give your listeners an idea of what 2.2 pounds of fentanyl will do, that will wipe out 1 million people, Paul. That'll wipe out a third of our state.
This has been another Gallo Radio Show audio archive. This is Coast View with Ricky Mathews on Super Talk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back. I've got Roy Anderson III here with me, and we're having just a terrific conversation about his journey. You're seeing a map from Twinkletown, the story that he just told about his landing in Tunica. I want to spend a little bit of time in this section. I want to hear about the Broadwater, Andercorp, but you married a Biloxi girl, didn't you, Roy?
Yeah, Sandy. She was a Suarez, and so she wanted me to make sure I got in. She's a yoga teacher, has the yoga bar, Pilates fitness studio.
Well, good for her, and I follow it.
Right.
They're doing some really progressive work there. It's great, great to see her success as well. And you got 3 kids.
Right. Yeah, I have 3 kids and 1 stepdaughter. And I have Courtney is my oldest, and Annie, and I got 2 is living in Austin. That's my middle child. And I have 2 grandsons, 4. And actually 5, getting ready to be in 3. Yeah. Anderson and Murray, and then she's married to Daniel, and then I got Roy just married Ryan. He's 33, and Heather's in architectural school, actually an internship between her 4th and 5th year in New York right now.
Oh wow,
so
that's cool.
He'll come back and finish. So.
And your son's going to be working in your company, Andercorp.
Yeah, he started. He started with me, and in early 19, and so. He was working at Roy Anderson Corp for like 9 years, and he kind of worked on different construction sites because he went through the business school at Ole Miss, and so I thought it'd be really good for him to get some hands-on experience on the construction to at least understand the nomenclature and how everything fits, and so forth. But we're having a great time working together. So
that's great to hear that. So tell me about the Broadwater. What's the future of the Broadwater?
Well, the Broadwater was actually went into a bankruptcy with the president casino. Mr. Connolly had a public company, and it wasn't because of the success or non-success of Biloxi. It was because of a project in St. Louis. So it went into a bankruptcy, and they sold all their assets. And we were one of the highest bidder, I guess, in those days in April of 2005, 6 months before Katrina.
Yeah, you and Cotton Four.
That's correct. Yep. And but you know, the Broadwater is real special. without a doubt, to not only the Gulf Coast, but from Texas all the way almost to Tampa, Florida. You wouldn't believe the history of New Orleans, where Joe Brown out of Houston developed it. He married Miss Dorothy Brown, and she was from the Point in Biloxi. But it's a unique property. It has a Coast Guard approved channel coming into the marina, and then, of course, a 30-acre marina, then an 11-acre gaming site that's entitled, and then a golf type, former golf course facility. But it could be transformative. It could be one of those few projects that could move the needle on the Gulf Coast. It could also be one of the few properties, I think, with the amenities, if it's done right, to bring back the necessary and needed conventions back from Destin and Perdido and some other areas.
So you see, as it was transformational when it opened back in the day, you see it being equally transformational even today.
Yeah, if it's done right, Ricky, that's what I'm saying. That we have a chance now for the first time with the gaming numbers being where they are. We're having more interest now we've had probably in the last 5 years. And it's because, sportsbook, and like you've said on several of your shows, and Rick and Terry alluded to, that it's not necessarily sportsbook has brought a higher EBITDA to them derived from people betting. It's brought more people to their casinos, whether it be on their table play or their slots, which is, if it's done that and it's a magnet to bring more people to the coast, that means sportsbook has been a win, and I applaud the legislators for getting it passed.
Well, first of all, you've got you and Cotton both have a significant investment in that property, and to hear you speaking favorably of it, I want to wish you all the luck in the world as you go forward. You've got to be talking to people about some of these possibilities, and it would be great for the coast to have another transformational chapter in our lives, in the coast life. That could take the whole market to a whole new level, and it would be a destination. I remember all the conversations about this early on. That it's not a casino that's going to be amongst the other casinos. It's going to be sitting in a place sort of not necessarily completely by itself. You got Treasure Bay there nearby, but the opportunity to have all the amenities with the marina and all the other pieces that go with that could be a really substantial move for the coast. So hope you all the luck in the world on that one.
Thank you. I think when they passed inland gaming, which allowed go 800 feet due north from the mean high tide, that was a game changer also for the Broadwater, because it allows us to do gaming on that 11-acre site north of 90, but also allows a lot of the non-gaming type of amenities, whether it be entertainment facilities, whether it be the marina with a nice restaurant, whether it be amphitheaters. It could be a lot of things, not just about gaming.
Well, that's an incredible vision. We're getting close to the end now. You're involved in the Gulf Coast Business Council, and I've had the opportunity to watch the Business Council from the very beginning, and it's very focused now. As in my conversation with Anthony Wilson, we talked about this on the future and the kind of changes that are going to be happening in the economy going forward. People have to pay attention to that conversation, don't they, Roy?
They really do, and we got exceptional leadership. Of course, you mentioned Anthony, and then Ashley. I saw his segment.
Yes.
Really, really bright guys, and I'm fortunate to be on the executive committee and be surrounded by, some CEOs that, when they talk, I'm all ears. And so I'm very fortunate. It's a great organization for not only the coast, but for the state of Mississippi.
So let me say this. Thank you for joining me, man. Your story is so impressive. It's inspiring. There's so much for anyone to get out of this conversation. Thanks for your contributions to the coast. Thanks for not checking out when you could have, rode off into the sunset. You're going to still make your mark here in coastal Mississippi. And I can't tell you how much I personally appreciate it. And I'm sure that after people listen to this video, they'll understand why I say that. So have a great day.
Well, you're doing a great job with this show.
Okay, thank you. We have Gerald Blessey tomorrow, the former mayor of the city of Biloxi.